Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Marriage, Money, and Mindset. We're your hosts. I'm Jared.
And I'm Alexis.
And welcome back to another episode 33 this week, guys. We are Marriage, Money, and Mindset, where we drop content pertaining to those three topics, marriage, money, and mindset. We drop a new episode every week at 5 p.m., and we are now on episode 33 of the channel. So I want to say thank you to the returning subscribers and thank you to the new subscribers to our channel. If this is your first time watching this channel, please consider subscribing. And also consider following us on Instagram as well at Marriage, Money, and Mindset. So last week we did episode 32 on retirement, right? Retirement knows no age. And at the very end of the episode, we kind of touched on life insurance, right?
Yes.
So we talked about how, that's something that's in
that you
addition
have to plan
to
for as well.
Right. So it kind of brought us into wanting to do this episode 33, titled "Till Death Do Us Part," right? Till death do us part. Life after your spouse is dead. All right. So it's gonna be an interesting topic of discussion. Yeah. So when you take your vows, that's one thing you say in your vows: "Till death do us part," right? So of course, let's just, we want to start the episode out by saying that, that's the inevitable, right?
Yeah, all of us have to die at some point. So
unfortunately, we all gotta go.
Yeah, we love each other, but eventually one of us or both of us is going to pass away. So one way to alleviate or plan for that is to plan it while you're living. So talk about it, have conversations about it.
Yeah, while y'all both stay here, you know what I'm saying? And like she said, one of us or both of us could potentially go too at the same time. So it's just a topic that I don't know. I mean, it's not the best. It's not the most sexy thing or fun thing to talk about with your spouse, but it is an important topic of discussion that does need to be had at some point.
Right.
While y'all both are living, guys. So
preferably while both of you guys are alive and well. I mean, you don't want to wait until somebody is on their deathbed to start planning, because then at that point it may be too late.
Because sometimes it can happen unexpected.
Right.
I mean, if somebody's sickly or showing signs of illness, I mean, you can kind of see it coming at that point. But like she mentioned, I could walk out and something could happen to me, right? Or vice versa, happen to her.
Right.
But we mainly want to touch on 10 steps on how to prepare financially before a spouse passes away, right? So that's what we want to touch on today. So we're going to get into 10 ways to prepare financially before a spouse passes away. So I'm going to let you start it off. The first way to prepare, the first step.
All right. So I've already kind of mentioned it briefly, but communication. So while you guys are both alive and well, you want to communicate your plans. So you need to understand each other's financial obligations, your assets, your debts, and your insurance policies.
Right. Yeah, so and that's one thing with us. I mean, we do this already. Like, we sit down, we pretty much know what our finances look like. What our assets, what our debts look like. We know where our life insurance policies are. Where to access those, how much is in them, what type of life insurance policies we have. So this is something that we've already incorporated in our marriage, right?
Yeah.
But that's very important. I've heard some marriages say,
That's what I was about to say. It's easy for us because we're very transparent. So all aspects have transparency, especially finances.
And that's part of being married. Like, you become one. So it's not her finances and it's not my finances. It's our finances, right? Yeah. At least that's the way I feel like you should be. I get it. Some marriages are unique when it comes to their finances. Again, what we do works for us. And I get it. Everybody's unique. So I'm not telling y'all should do it this way. This is the blueprint. Right. Even though I do feel like it's the blueprint. But I get it. Everybody's unique, you know. So that brings us to number 2. The second step in preparing financially before a spouse passes is documentation. So you want to keep important financial documents in a safe and easily accessible place.
Exactly.
This includes wills, life insurance policies, Bank account information, investment account details, property deeds, any other relevant documents. So, have these things, placed somewhere where your spouse can access with ease. It just kind of helps alleviate the stress of wondering where everything is. When each individual knows where everything is, that makes it a lot, more accessible and a lot smoother of a transition. So the third way, talk about it.
The third one is an emergency fund. So you never know what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. It can happen suddenly. So having an emergency fund is just for those unexpected times. It'll cover unexpected expenses. So it's having a savings in place that can provide financial stability during that difficult time.
There you go. So emergency fund. That's something you want to do in life in general anyways, because it's not a matter of if, it's when things are going to occur, right? All right. So the fourth way to prepare before your spouse passes financially is to review your life insurance policy. So insurance. Yes. So you want to review your life insurance policies to ensure they adequately cover both spouses. Consider purchasing or updating policies if necessary. Mm-hmm. So with life insurance, that's something that we have. We have whole life policies. There's term and there's whole life. Mm-hmm. Whatever suits you best, do your own research and what you feel like you should get. I know with the whole life insurance policies, they build a cash value option. That's one reason why we chose whole life. But also consider how much life insurance you're going to need.
Right.
So, one thing you can look at is, if you have, $500,000 worth of liabilities, maybe $500,000 worth of life insurance may be something suitable for you. That's just an example. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the fifth way.
Okay, so the fifth one is estate planning. So you want to create or update your estate plan, including wills, trusts, and power of attorney. Also, consult with a qualified estate planning attorney to ensure your wishes are properly documented and legally binding.
Yeah. Self-explanatory. Estate planning, have your wills in place. These are things, you want to have set in stone what your wishes are when you pass, so a lot of times.
And not only said verbally, but like the last point was it's legally binding. So you need something that's set in place legally.
There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so the sixth step in preparing financially before a spouse passes away is beneficiary designations. Mm-hmm. So you want to review and update beneficiary designations on retirement accounts, life insurance policies, and other assets to reflect your wishes. So, we check those annually, by the way. You want to make sure that the updated beneficiary is who you definitely want to be your beneficiary. So, of course, there's some instances where people fall off. Maybe they're in the second or third marriage. They didn't change their beneficiary. Yeah. You want to make sure you constantly update those beneficiaries. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's the right person getting whatever you leave. When you pass on, make sure it's the right person getting what you want, right?
Yeah.
All right, so number 7, debt management. Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
All right, so you want to develop a plan to manage any outstanding debts, including mortgages, loans, and credit card balances. So pay down your debt when possible to reduce financial stress. So right now, while you guys are alive and kicking, you want to make sure that you reduce your expenses so that later on in life, when one of you or both of you passes, it alleviates that stress for the other spouse.
Yeah, the idea is to build wealth while you're young, and then of course, be a little bit more conservative with your, how you manage your expenses. Mm-hmm. When you're in retirement age, you want to try to eliminate as much debt as possible. That's just the idea, and keep a lid on that. So, all right, number 8, healthcare planning. So, you want to discuss healthcare preferences and make sure you both have advanced directives such as living wills and healthcare processes in place. So, this makes me think about what is it called? DNRs, do not resuscitate. Yeah. If you're in a vegetative state, that's something you may want to consider while you're living. Mm-hmm. As you get older in life, maybe you're, in a position where you may be in a vegetative state. You don't wish that on anybody, but it potentially could happen. So what would you want put in place if this was the case?
Right.
Also,
power of attorney is pretty important as well. If you're not able to make decisions for yourself, who do you put in place to make those health decisions for you?
There you go. Yeah. All right, number 9, guys, budgeting. So create a budget to track expenses and ensure you can maintain your standard of living on a single income if necessary. Identify areas where you can reduce expenses if needed. So, have that conversation about, what your expenses are going to look like post your
Death.
your spouse passing. Because your expenses are going to look a little different. It's just you now. It's not both of y'all. It's just one of y'all. So, make sure you have us talk about that budget while y'all still here together, and then of course, have a plan. In other words,
And last but
and the
not
last
least
one,
is seeking professional advice.
yeah,
So whether that's a friend or a family member or somebody who's neither, that's what's recommended because they're not biased. But they can provide you with guidance based on your financial situation and goals.
right. So yeah, guys, we just wanted to touch on a few things. Like those are 10 things we feel like is important to discuss while y'all both are still living, and touch on pre-death because you will die.
Yeah.
So make sure you have these 10 steps in preparing financially before one of your spouse, or before your spouse, not one of your spouses, before your spouse passes away.
Right.
So, but yeah, man, we ain't gonna hold y'all up too late. So we just wanted to, get this content out to y'all in reference to this. So,
And I do
Yeah.
have one question to ask while we on camera.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're talking about death and wishes. So how do you want to, like, do you want to be buried? You want to be cremated? You want a
Cremated.
funeral? Oh, cremated?
Yeah, cremated.
Okay. This is something that we've already talked about off camera.
Yeah,
So it's not a surprise to me, but now y'all know.
there you go.
Okay. What's the reason for that?
Just because I don't prefer to have people see me in a casket.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And we also talked about like funeral versus a going home celebration.
right.
So a funeral is more traditional, and you're not that traditional.
Nah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we just wanted to, touch on this topic of discussion, guys. I know it's not the, happiest thing to talk about, but death is a real thing that will occur. Mm-hmm. It's important to talk about these things before y'all pass. So that's what we wanted to do today. Mm-hmm. So
You gonna get married after me?
Yeah, that's another thing, talk about that, guys, whenever y'all, pass on. How do you feel about the other spouse moving on? So I think that's something that's okay. You want you want your spouse to be happy, post when you pass. So
That was my answer.
yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah. I would like for you to be happy. So
Yeah,
just put me in that urn and say good morning and good night to me every day.
there you go. All right, guys. So hey, look, we appreciate y'all tuning in. We're gonna catch y'all next week. Y'all take care till next week.
Peace.
Peace.